Hello and welcome to Anime Recapped. Today we'll be covering episode 1 to 4 of the anime Parallel World Pharmacy. This is the first of 3 parts. Lay back and enjoy the recap. In the beginning scene we see Yukatani Kanji working feverishly as a pharmacist inventing cancer treatments. In remembrance of his sister who died from a tumor. When a representative from a pharmaceutical firm pays him a visit, he had to watch as the doctors gave up on her after determining her illness was incurable. Since then, the professor has dedicated his entire life to inventing new medicines, hardly allowing himself to sleep, and relying heavily on snacks and energy drinks to keep himself going. After finishing up some work, the professor would write a note on his wrist and allow himself a 46-minute rest. He dies in his sleep from overwork but unexpectedly awakens in another reality as a kid called Pharma de Medicis. The professor immediately sees that his voice is altered, and his heart begins to rush as he realizes what has happened. The girl introduces herself as Charlotte and discovers peculiar tattoos on Pharma's body. She thinks it's a holy mark, but he says it's simply a burn from the lightning. She is concerned that he has forgotten fundamental global information and promises to assist him in recalling it. Pharma's family, the de Medicis, serve the royal family as doctors. His father, Bruno, is a skilled guy who is the head of the Imperial School of Pharmacy. Pharma has a mother named Beatrice and a sister named Blanche. He also has an older brother named Paul. But he is now studying abroad at the world's most prominent medical school. Pharma is astounded to learn that magic known as divine arts exists, and upon testing his powers, discovers that he can summon all the elements of the periodic table using his knowledge of chemistry. Playing on the idea that he has amnesia, he convinces his father Bruno to let him return to studying with his tutor Eleonora, where he learns divine arts encompass earth, air, fire, water, and none but none is extinct. Eleanor learns that, in addition to his strange personality shift. Later, Pharma recalls how she told him that he can use the divine art of water and that he must create a mental image of the form of water to use it. He gives it a try by imagining water's molecular structure and finds that his markings begin to glow. Pharma panics as water begins to flow uncontrollably from his hands and aims it outside after begging it to stop. Pharma's magic capacity has risen nearly to infinity. He possesses the divine sight that can detect any disease and damage, and his body no longer casts a shadow. Pharma's father demands that him carry some medicine to Eleonora, who has informed him that she is unwell and has chosen to discontinue tutoring entirely. Pharma claims not to know why and agrees to do it. He will then find that the treatment is ineffective for a fever and create his own. Pharma pays a visit to Eleanor in her house, but she is afraid because she believes he is one of the Panaceos, the gods that control the divine arts. Pharma explains that he is delivering potions sent by his father. But she suspects he is trying to poison her. He has also brought the medicine he made, an ointment for her jammed finger, but she suspects those are poison too. Pharma explains that he would never harm her and he still wants her to tutor him. She states that he doesn't need to learn anything since he is clearly an incarnation of Panaceos, but Pharma is pretty certain. Pharma explains that he actually can't control his abilities yet and would like her to continue teaching him because there is no literature on the divine arts. However, it appears she has already made up her mind, so he apologizes for scaring her and thanks her for everything she has done for him. Later she would debate taking medicine he gave her. The god Panaxians have been known for being kind, so she decides to trust him. In fact, she is the one who is thankful because his medicine works even better than his father's. The two then travel to an uninhabited island where Pharma can learn more divine arts without fear of being discovered. Control is difficult for him, but the two are optimistic that it will come with time. Pharma begins diagnosing and developing cures for the domestic employees. But as Charlotte reveals that the de Medicis exclusively serves royalty and that commoner physicians' medications are costly, he intends to make medicine available to all social strata. Pharma's sister Blanchette catches chickenpox. Pharma develops a cure using earth-based procedures, but because no one on this world is aware of it, he is Blanchard pledged to keep it a secret. Blanchette then explains that he is a lot different now because he has never spent time with her before, which is weird to her. But she admits that she loves her new brother and also can't help but be reminded of his other sister. Pharma and Bruno pay a visit to Empress. Pharma assists his father in determining her ailment and is amazed at how different the procedure is compared to his world. Pharma is later surprised to overhear them say that her destiny is nearing its end. Because the stars are in a terrible state, Bruno will still continue to treat her the best he can. But Pharma is able to smell the ingredients he is using to determine he has created an anesthesia potion. Elizabeth asks him to be honest with her and tell her whether she is beyond rescuing, but he insists that is not the case. He claims that the medication he has created is strong enough to assist, but Pharma knows it isn't. It's evident that Bruno is only attempting to alleviate her pain, and others request for a priest to come the next day. Pharma is surprised to see that everyone has given up, and he realizes that he can no longer just stand by. Pharma surreptitiously uses Divine Eye to diagnose her with White Death, and then promises to Elizabeth in front of all the doctors that he can rescue her. Bruno furiously says that there is no cure for White Death. Therefore the Pharma confesses that Bruno is also suffering from White Death in its early stages. Pharma isolates himself in a room to avoid interruption and develops a treatment plan. Pharma concludes that he must use 4 separate treatments to prevent the germs from growing resistant. Bruno assaults Pharma. Bruno is taken aback by this because Pharma's attribute is positive water, which means he has always been able to make it but should not be able to destroy it. Bruno understands Pharma is not the son he always knew and believes the Panadios gave Pharma pharmaceutical revelations through his pocket microscope. Pharma demonstrates to the court doctors that Elizabeth has small critters in her lungs and explains the presence of germs. Elizabeth agrees to take Pharma's medication for the 6 months it takes to come home. Bruno reconsiders his approach to medicine as well as his shortcomings as a father. Pharma asks Bruno to continue educating him since, despite his powers, he must still study to be a doctor. Bruno embraces Pharma as his son and uses the drug to treat his own illness. 3 months after Pharma saved the Empress, Bruno explains that it is being demanded that the recipe for the White Death's cure be made public. Bruno believes that it will be impossible because the cure was a miracle from the god of medicine. But Pharma reveals that anyone can make it and that he will eventually make a production method. Public Pharma believes that sharing useful knowledge is critical to humanity's ability to make new discoveries. Bruno warns that Pharma's ideals will surely bring people after him and reveals that someone was actually attempting to assassinate the Empress by bringing the White Death to the palace. Pharma doubts this possibility because attempting to assassinate someone with a virus that only has a 10% chance of infection makes no sense. Bruno muses on how long it would take to attain Pharma's level of knowledge and recalls a recollection from his past. Later, he is startled to learn that the Empress intends to reward him and must be made to recognize how useful his assistance has been. Noah, his buddy, is trying to figure out what present he would want most and wonders if it may be money, power, or even territory. Pharma, on the other hand, is not interested in any of that and is focused on his goal of opening a pharmacy that will provide safe and affordable medicine to everyone, regardless of social status. The emphasis treatment is proceeding as planned, and Pharma speaks humbly about the effectiveness of his medicine. After Elizabeth is fully healed, Bruno is granted extra territories, and Pharma is promoted to royal pharmacist and permitted to create a pharmacy in the capital. Ellen arrives on instructions to assist Pharma, and she tells that he shouldn't be too concerned because the Empress would probably let him to reconstruct it if it wasn't to his satisfaction. Pharma begins plans on his dream pharmacy and everyone watches in awe. Days later Pharma would think hard about her name for his pharmacy. And takes a moment to appreciate how his dream is finally coming true. He mistakenly says out loud how he never expected the pharmacy to be in a parallel world. The man overseeing the project hears this and assumes that is the name he wants. Almost immediately, Varen, the head of the St. Flu Pharmaceutics Guild, seeks to sabotage Pharma and is enraged that his medications will be affordable to commoners. But he is driven away by Eleonore before he can cause problems. If you like our efforts, kindly subscribe our channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss our new video. Thanks.